Welcome to This Explainer. Look, if you've ever felt the absolute friction of trying to pull accurate numbers off a messy, chaotic PDF drawing set, well, you know it's a complete minefield. While digging through our source material today, I found out how a specialized tool called MarkMetric actually solves this exact headache. So we're going to look at how it tackles these massive industry-wide pain points to help you achieve a truly perfect takeoff.
We have to start with this brilliant insight straight from the source material. A price takeoff built on a wrong scale is a confident, fully costed mistake. It hits the nail right on the head, doesn't it? It doesn't really matter how good your math is later on. If that initial measurement is wrong, you're literally just confidently predicting a loss. It perfectly highlights the massive financial risks that cascade from just a single tiny measurement error right at the start of the job.
So here's our quick roadmap for today. We're going to cover the two main takeoff traps, how to master the drawing scale, pricing on your own terms, proving every single number, and finally, exactly who this tool is built by and for. Let's dive in.
Section 1. The two takeoff traps and the hidden friction in estimating.
What really clicked for me here was this super clean division of the problem into two distinct parts: geometry versus economics. First up, you've got measurement errors. We all know real-world drawing sets are almost never drawn to one neat scale. You might have a site plan at 1 to 500 and a detail at 1 to 20 sitting right there on the exact same sheet. Accidentally measuring off the wrong one absolutely ruins your data. And second, there are pricing errors. A raw measurement of length or area, that isn't a usable price. You have to somehow turn those raw quantities into real costs, using the highly specific rates that actually apply to your job.
Section 2. Mastering the drawing scale and attaching scales to those measurements.
Okay, imagine you're looking at a single PDF page. In the old way of doing things, you'd set the scale for the whole page and honestly just hope for the best. But MarkMetric actually ties the scale directly to the measurement itself. It's a real game changer. You can measure a floor plan at 1 to 500 and immediately measure a window detail right next to it at 1 to 20. They both come out perfectly true to their own scale, and the tool correctly sums them all into one unified quantity. No mental gymnastics or manual conversions required.
But what if the drawing has absolutely no measurable reference at all? It's a nightmare scenario we face all the time. Well, the source shows how you can bypass that hurdle entirely. You simply read the stated ratio, read the page size straight from the title block, and just set the scale directly in the software. It's literally just a few logical steps to ensure your foundation is absolutely rock solid before you click a single point.
Now, what I found genuinely fascinating here is how the tool handles the messy, often chaotic reality of construction. Let's be real, architects rarely draw every single thing perfectly. Sometimes your wall height only exists in a written spec. Well, you can add that as a parameter and even drop in a note recording exactly where that invisible spec came from. Need an undrawn pile cap or a ring beam? Just enter its dimensions as a group. You can even cut voids, like a lift pit, straight out of a defined area. It completely bridges the gap between what is actually drawn on the page and what practically needs to be built on site.
Section 3. Pricing on your terms. Turning those quantities into real costs. Here is a hard truth from the material. A takeoff is really only half done until it's priced. And in the real world, standard rates, they're basically a myth. You are constantly balancing a specific supplier's quote on one project, utilizing a key account's discounted rates on another, and maybe relying on a local merchant's list for a third. It's complicated. So instead of relying on abstract math, this workflow lets you calculate exactly what you're actually going to buy. Need extra coats of paint for a wet room? Add it. Want to allocate exact half sheets of plywood drawn straight from your own backyard stock? You can totally do that. You can add specific wastage percentages per product and realistically round up to whole rolls or buckets. It perfectly, seamlessly matches your digital list to your physical reality.
And in an age where literally everything gets pushed to the cloud, the source highlights a massive, privacy-first competitive advantage here. Your rates never actually leave your machine. The software provider never sees them. Your margins and your highly specific supplier relationships remain your absolute secret, giving you total, uncompromising control over your economic data.
Section 4. Proving every single number. The transparent audit trail.
Because at the end of the day, an estimate is only defensible if you can prove it. Just look at how every single number shows it's working line by line here. You've got the raw measurement, the specific scale used, exactly where it came from, the exact wastage applied, and the final total. There are no black boxes here, just pure, undeniable transparency. And the visual proof is just as crucial as the spreadsheet. You can actually export these markups directly back onto the PDF, sitting exactly where they were taken. This means your client, your boss, or, let's be perfectly honest here, your completely confused future self revisiting this same job 6 months later can visually verify every single figure. It creates a completely closed, fully verifiable loop.
Section 5. Built by and for pros. Let's look at who relies on MarkMetric. Whether you're a quantity surveyor dealing with just massive drawing sets, a small builder pricing your own local jobs, or maybe a specialized roofer working to really specific merchant rates, the source notes that this tool scales perfectly to your needs. It even caters directly to material suppliers. And that's because the core mission is exactly the same across the board. Measure once, price it your way, and absolutely prove it.
Honestly, this is what stood out to me the most. This wasn't built by software developers guessing from a cozy office. It was built by people who have actually frozen on muddy job sites. That's exactly why these hyper-specific details, like being able to allocate half buckets of paint, even exist in the tool. Someone actually needed it to survive a real, chaotic job.
Which brings us to arguably the most disruptive point in the entire source material: the price. In an era of endless, financially draining monthly subscriptions, MarkMetric is a single, lifetime fee of exactly £495. This single, one-time payment unlocks absolutely every feature with zero hidden tiers. No subscriptions, no unexpected renewals hitting your card. It runs directly in your browser on Mac or PC and locks securely to the specific machine you work on. It is a complete, refreshing rejection of the modern sauce trap, keeping your money and your entire workflow entirely in your own hands.
So, as we wrap up this explainer, you really have to ask yourself, are you ready to leave behind those confident, fully costed mistakes for good? Taking full control of your takeoffs, measuring once across any mixed scale, pricing it strictly on your own terms, and completely proving the math might honestly just be the most profitable workflow adjustment you ever make. Thanks so much for joining me on this deep dive into the mechanics of the perfect takeoff, and I'll catch you on the next explainer.